Okay, so happy Valentine's Day, first of all. Singles Awareness Day, SAD, or as I like to call it, VD or Halloween. And it looks like Rip Taylor's celebrating it in the second picture. But anyway, that said, yes, this video all starts with Gensploration and Rip Taylor. And I know what you're thinking. Whenever I think of Gensploration, I think exactly of Rip Taylor. You can't not confuse the two. Anyway, this situation starts with me and Rip Taylor. I was writing an article for Rip Taylor for a Rip Taylor memorial back in like November. And this is his press release. This is not the article. But I went through his entire career and I looked up all the shows that he had been in, and I'm very meticulous about recording shows and spelling things exactly correctly. And then when I send it to his publicist, or his former publicist, his publicist in spirit, the publicist will come back and get me with any spelling mistakes or any mistakes that I've made in the article. And I always say, that's my caveat at the end of every email. As always, if I made any mistake or got anything wrong, please let me know and I'll go back in and correct it. The beauty of online editing. So anyway, so this article that I wrote was no exception. And it was a really great ceremony, by the way, because I went and they had all kinds of actors from the 70's there. And a truck just went by. And not only that, when the publicist got his picture taken at the end of the ceremony, he had all these orbs around him. And he's like, I never really believed in orbs as spirits or ghosts until now, but it was really weird. And there were like so many, they were almost obscuring the picture. And he teared up at the end of the ceremony, and I had never seen him cry. So, but in any case, I went back and I wrote all about Rip Taylor's career, and I didn't know a lot about it, but one of the shows that he was on was what I thought was H&R Puffin Stuff. And I know I checked the spelling because of those two pesky F's, which I would have made 4 had I not checked the spelling. So that's, to me, that's just proof positive that I know I checked the spelling, aside from the fact that his publicist did not correct me. And I mentioned it, and I know it wasn't just an anomaly because I mentioned it 3 more times in the article. And I have 1119 there because that's when I wrote it, 1119. Fast forward to February of 2020, when I'm writing an article about Sid and Marty Krofft getting their star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And I go to look up the show again because I can never remember how to spell that damn show. It was never part of my childhood. I don't remember it. Almost everyone else in my childhood remembers H&R Puffin Stuff, or HR Puffin Stuff. Almost everyone in my childhood remembers it except me. So a part of me is thinking that I'm either from some alternate universe where we didn't have that, but we did have the Brady Variety Hour, because I do remember the Brady Variety Hour and Life Matrix said he did not. Or it was just too before my time, because actually 1969 it wasn't in existence, and 1970 I was just a baby, and maybe they didn't show reruns when I was a kid. But that said, I had to look it up. I was like, because I looked it up online, I googled it online again to make sure I was getting it right in this article, because let's face it, I don't make a point of remembering whether it's H&R Puffin Stuff. And I looked it up again, and it said I looked up again because I wanted to make it H&R. The H&R part was the thing that I was fairly sure of. I just never remember how many F's it had in it. And as you see, I typed into my Google search 2 F's on the one and the second one with only 1 F. Kind of like Double Stuff Oreo, how their F's disappeared. And let's face it, it is kind of a hard and weird name to know how to spell. But I googled it again to make sure I was getting it right in this article. And again, the publicist did not ding me on it when I wrote him the new article. But I come to find out that it was never H&R Puffin Stuff, but HR Puffin Stuff. And to me, that just doesn't flow right. And even when people were mentioning it in my childhood, I always seem to remember them saying H&R Puffin Stuff. Now, of course, that's not written down, but I wrote it in the article, and it's not the same there either. So I looked it up on the main websites just to make sure it wasn't a spelling anomaly, like somebody getting it wrong, because it's an easy name to get wrong too. And Wikipedia page says it's HR Puffin Stuff. And IMDb confirms that it's HR Puffin Stuff. But when I tried to finagle it and look it up in other ways, I came up with some other things. I think this is still where it just confirmed the same spelling, but let me check. So I typed in the search H&R Puffin Stuff. Did you mean HR Puffin Stuff? And I'm serious. When I Googled it the first time, writing my article back in November, I never got this message, did you mean HR Puffin Stuff? And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't in his press release that I just showed you, so that makes it even more decided that I would have had to have Googled it, because if it don't say nothing in Rip Taylor's press release, unless it disappeared from his press release since then, and at this point anything's possible, you never know. So again, these are all the traditional spellings I found. And you know what else was weird? A couple days ago, when I was finishing writing the article about Sid and Marty Krofft getting their stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and realizing that it was spelled HR Puffin Stuff, I found absolutely no residual residue. That's redundant. I found no reality residue. But that all changed when I looked it up today. We have right here H&R Puffin Stuff, and of course they write it there like puffin like the bird and stuff with 2 F's. Again, like I said, it's a hard name to remember, but at the same time, when you're writing articles and you're doing your own fact checking, you might not remember, but you always go back in and do the fact checking to get it right in the article. But again, like I said, today when I looked it up, I did find a bunch of stuff. Okay, so we got some more here. Kevin Smith on Twitter, when Walt describes HR Puffin Stuff, and then in the body of the article or whatever it is, it says H&R. H&R was always creepy. What is/was your favorite cartoons growing up? Soaps.com. Underdog says H&R Puffin Stuff, and he is now definitively the underdog because he remembers it totally incorrectly. NSYNC. Now you know the cast of NSYNC knows they shit. Although they seem a little young to remember H&R. Of course, it was probably all those reruns that everybody says was transpiring as a child that I have no recollection of. His name was H&R Puffin Stuff. Puffin like the bird. These spellings are all over the place. But you get the picture. So then we have My Dystopia, H&R Puffin Stuff. And really, you'd think the second half would be the one people most misspell, the Puffin Stuff part. Like the whole double stuffed Oreos, like I keep mentioning. But the first part, H&R, and I know I'm not confusing it with H&R Block because H&R Block is H and the and sign R, but this always seemed to me, and I always remembered it as H&R, like H-N, like to signify, well, N with an apostrophe on both sides of it to signify and R. So you can see here there's all these H&Rs, H&Rs, H&R under lowercase, H&R Puffin Stuff, and then HR Puffin Stuff. So if I hadn't even found this reality residue today, I probably wouldn't have made this video because I'm telling you, I can't account for the difference in days. Why I found it on Tuesday, why I couldn't find it on Tuesday, and why I'm now just finding it on Friday, Valentine's Day. The universe mustn't love me. But of course, when I went to go write my most present article, 0220 article, which looks like some deformed zero or blob or a backwards B. Sorry about my bad penmanship. And the heart up there looks like it has devil horns, but oh well. I wrote it the right way. And again, oh my God, Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. I remember them so hard. They were so awesome. Deirdre Hall does not age. I would tell you exactly. She does not age. I don't know how that transpires. Oh, probably money. And the girl who played Dyna Girl, I don't remember who she was, but I always pretended I was her when we would play that. You know, we pretended we were Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. So, HR Puffin Stuff. Again, I was very, very meticulous about this. Just as I was meticulous about my article that I wrote back in November. Oh, and they mentioned Forrest Gump and Cheech and Chong. Those have other Mandela effects in them. And just to treat you to a bit more reality residue, H&R Puffin Stuff, HR Puffin Stuff, H&R, over there, Puffin Stuff, H&R with the periods. That's another thing, like the periods are confusing too, but when you just have the N between the H and R, it is not confusing. So then I looked on YouTube and I found absolutely no reality residue on YouTube, but I did find this weird playlist called Puffin Stuff, one in reference to the JFK assassination, and the other on the same playlist, H and R Puffin Stuff, crashes in the end. Those are two kind of weird titles and juxtapositions, aren't they? So you can see right there, that apparently is a yellow and blue checkerboard fish, or checker circle fish. Ah, the blue and white checkerfin fish. Just perfect for the subject of an H&R HR Puffin Stuff video. And then you have down here a picture. It's like a rear view picture of the limousine. And it's weird because that's JFK's head, and that I believe is Governor Connolly's head. And then it looks as though there's nobody sitting in front of Governor Connolly, which I thought was strange. Like the bodyguard, the Secret Service agent or whatever, but that is the driver, and that's Connolly's wife, and that's Jackie. So clearly something's very, very strange here. Puffin Stuff shot JFK, you be the judge. And then they show this picture at the very end, or close to the end of the video, where it's the Puffin Stuff character. Again, I don't know who the hell he is because I did not grow up with the show. On the side of Lee Harvey Oswald with Jack Ruby shooting him. Okay, I'm gonna wait for that car to do a go by, or it's a motorcycle. I'm gonna do a motorcycle pause. But the weird thing is that I seem to remember a JFK Jack Ruby Mandela effect, where some people seem to remember seeing Jack Ruby shoot Oswald on the news and some people don't. Now, what I thought happened is that people remember Jack Ruby shooting Oswald on the news and then it had disappeared. But now I'm hearing the opposite. So it just seems like a lot of things are shifting and going back and forth quite rapidly as well, I might add, just because, again, on Tuesday I wasn't finding the reality residue, but today I am today. And maybe it's just a fluke, or maybe it has to do with the way that I looked up H&R Puffin Stuff. I don't know. But that said, I'm just going to leave it there. But I would be really, really curious to know whether you guys remember it being HR Puffin Stuff or H&R Puffin Stuff. Also, one more really weird thing that happened this week, or not even this week, but it happened over this past month, was that I put in for a doctor's appointment that I'm going to go to on Monday morning. And I wrote down on my request form, I'll come in around 1. My doctor's appointment's at 9. It's going to take me a while to get across town. And I have 2 different memories of it. My first memory was that they approved the time off request form and they brought it back to me, and that was it. My second memory was of my supervisor coming over and saying, "Oh, hey Jen, that's President's Day. You already have the day off, so we don't need this form." And I'm like, and I just barely remember both. As a matter of fact, the one where they brought the form back and approved it as time off, I remember better. So something's going on with everybody's memory. But that's about all. Happy holidays, yeah, right? Happy Valentine's Day, that's about all, and peace out.